Hey guys, it's Brendan here, and welcome back to another crypto market update. And over the past few weeks, the crypto market has remained pretty steady. There hasn't been any kind of major news releases, and Bitcoin has remained inside of the same consolidation zone. Now, there have been a few small things that have happened over the past 2 weeks or so that I want to address on Bitcoin specifically because I think it can have a meaningful impact on Bitcoin's price, and it's something that everyone needs to be aware of, at least if you are a crypto trader or hold any kind of crypto portfolio, because the odds are what happens to Bitcoin here is going to affect a lot of the altcoins as well. So if that sounds interesting, all that I ask is that if you like the content that I make, consider sticking around for more videos, smack that like button, smack that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in here. So one of the biggest events that we saw happen in May was Bitcoin form this nice double bottom right at $25,500. Now, why is this significant? Because the double bottom is a bullish thing to see, but more specifically here, this was a macro resistance range prior to Bitcoin testing it as a support and breaking out over here at the end of March. What we saw was the first time that Bitcoin retested this level, which was the previous bottom of the Terra Luna and UST crash. It saw a really big old move to the downside, exceeding 35%. And then the second time that it tested this level, it moved from around 25.5K, 22% downwards, just below $20,000, where it was inevitably able to bounce off the 200-day moving average. So with Bitcoin flagging and consolidating and trying to find support as it's coming to that previous resistance level, this is a really big area to hold. Now, the new event or the new happening that I want to talk about is with Bitcoin's bounce off of this double bottom and it coming back to this 200-day moving average. That is now being used as resistance, where over here previously, around the end of April, this was a support area for Bitcoin. We see it bouncing and using this as a support until it broke. Now, since this has broken, we got the initial retest as resistance, and now we're seeing the most recent swing high also act as resistance. But this shouldn't come as anything super alarming. So if you're a short to midterm day trader, yeah, this will affect you. And the grand scheme of Bitcoin and more of that medium to long-term play, it's not anything that's too dangerous, because again, there is the possibility that this is just a big old bull flag and the big support layers are holding for Bitcoin, and it's above both of those. So number one, the big support layer is 25.5K, that first level that we talked about right here, the previous macro resistance that has since turned into a support. And then number two, that 200-day moving average, which it held back in the middle of March. So with Bitcoin still being above both of these levels, I'm really not too concerned. And it's not until one of these two levels necessarily break that I'm going to start getting maybe a little bit more alarmed about Bitcoin. So am I nervous? No. Yeah, in the short term, midterm, we could see price come down and maybe 25K even breaks. But in that scenario, so long as these macro supports hold, I'm really not too concerned with something like the 50-day moving average acting as resistance, because it just so happens to be that this 50-day moving average is right at the top of this bull flag where we've seen multiple rejections. So this is nothing new. It's nothing surprising that Bitcoin came up and rejected here. And who knows, maybe this is the time where we either set in a higher swing low, come back to support, gain some more momentum. The one thing that I am watching out for is I'm starting to see this on some other altcoin charts, but it hasn't happened on Bitcoin yet, is maybe a descending triangle where things are seeing lower swing highs and then a flat level of support. So what I really don't want to see here is Bitcoin come down to the same support and then try to form like a triple bottom, because I think at that point it's more likely to turn into a descending triangle than it is any kind of triple bottom or, well-tested support line. What I don't want to see is a descending triangle happen here, because inevitably those things do like to squeeze towards the downside and often lead to breakdowns. So if you are a short to midterm trader, something to keep your eye out on, because I am noticing that across a couple of altcoin charts. And again, generally speaking, that's not the best thing to see here. volume is also kind of trickling off. We're seeing that a lot of exchanges are seeing lower levels of crypto than they are normally used to having, meaning that crypto is becoming more rare. And while this is a good thing for the price of the crypto, it can also mean that there might be a lack of liquidity on more exchanges, and the average centralized exchange will probably have a lower liquidity than they're used to having, at least when you compare it to maybe the past 2, 3, 4 years of what crypto liquidity has looked like. So just keep in mind that volume is a little bit lower, liquidity is probably a little bit lower, nothing too much happening over here on this MACD chart. And on the RSI, there is actually the potential for crypto to form yet another swing high on the daily RSI, and that could be a really, really solid thing. Again, it's a little bit higher here. I have my circle, as most of you can see it. I wish that we could see maybe RSI come down just a little bit more and then see the bounce, and I think that would look a lot more promising, but we just barely pierced into this area, so who knows. Maybe that's the best that we get. I would like to see this come down just a little bit more. But the good news is that these macro supports on Bitcoin are holding in the short term, and ultimately time's going to tell. So again, not any kind of a major update of Bitcoin's about to do something crazy. I do think that we are seeing some squeezes, but as May comes to an end, I think that the volatility is going to pick up as we enter into June here, and it's actually already June 2nd, which is it's crazy to think about. But I hope that kept everyone up to date. I hope you all did like this video. Again, I wish that there was some groundbreaking evidence that I could show you of this crazy volatility that is happening live on the chart. But sometimes the charts are a little bit more boring. But again, happy to keep everyone updated here. So if you like the video and you like the content that I bring and you want to stay updated with what is happening, and not only Bitcoin, but a lot of the altcoins as well, make sure you stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button to get this video out to more people, drop a comment on the video, and until next week, I'll see all of you very, very soon.